They also sometimes look at it like some quantum physics. Has the paper actually become tougher in the recent times, or are we all just too traumatized of maths? What do you feel?
Thing is, sir, yes, the toughness levels of CSAT has been increased over the years. Earlier, we had the direct questions, sir. Just most of the students just mug up the formulas or they use the shortcuts in the quant. The thing is, after 2019, the question paper was drastically changed.
Sir, also everyone has this opinion that quant is easy but time-taking. But reasoning says that I'm simple but I'm confusing. In reality, which one kills more students? What do you feel?
It depends on the student to student, sir. We can't say that which one is easy, which one is tough. Because some student felt that quant is tough, some student felt that reasoning is tough. If you take a non-math student, somewhere after 10th standard, they did not do maths. They were not in touch completely with math. They felt that quant is really tough. And when it comes to the reasoning, some students felt that reasoning, the kind of puzzles or seating arrangement, when they see it, they don't comprehend it in a right manner. That is the reason why some students felt that reasoning is tough.
Sir, also, we have seen this. Engineers fail CSAT too late. How does that happen? Overconfidence, wrong strategy, laziness. What do you attribute that to?
One of the major reasons that's overconfidence. Because in recent years, so many engineering graduates also failed in CSAT. When they came and told me their stories about that they failed in CSAT, the first thing they were saying that, sir, we underestimate CSAT.
CSAT, Quant and Reasoning. The part of prelims that everyone calls easy, right until they actually solve a paper. So for many aspirants, this section is, like that sneaky plot twist. What happens is it looks harmless and then suddenly it knocks you out of the entire preparation game. And today on the GS room, that's what we're going to break down exactly. The whole concept of CSAT, Quant and Reasoning, which has become more like a make or break paper for everyone. And for that, what recent trends do we have? How to prepare for the exam without getting, traumatized. We have with us someone who simplifies CSAT as Google Maps simplifies the navigation for us. So we have with us Gouri Shankar Sir, the expert at Quant and Reasoning. Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
So, sir, welcome to the GS room, and let's begin with the very first question. That CSAT math is more like that basic level school math. At least that's the understanding that UPSC aspirants have. But they also sometimes look at it like some quantum physics. Has the paper actually become tougher in the recent times, or are we all just too traumatized of maths? What do you feel?
Thing is, sir, yes, the toughness levels of CSAT has been increased over the years. Earlier, we had the direct questions, sir. Just most of the students just mug up the formulas or they use the shortcuts in the quant, so they can easily get the answers. It's not that hardness, but the thing is, after 2019, the question paper was drastically changed. So before 2019, so there were more number of questions, the more weightage is given to reasoning and comprehension sections. So most of the students, even including the non-math background students, who are not well with these maths, they can manage to do it. Even the mathematics, as I told you, that the maths or the quant part was very easy questions. They can easily solve it. But after 2019, the quant questions are also very lengthy. So it is somewhat tough comprehend for them. That is one of the reasons why most of the students felt that CSAT was tough from 2019. Even the reasoning questions were also not direct, sir. Earlier, we had the direct questions from directions or seating arrangement, puzzles. Even when the puzzles were asked earlier, one set of puzzle is given, it is followed by 4 or 5 questions, and that too very easily cracked down. But after 2019, single question, we have that multiple concepts. I will give you an example, sir. Even the reasoning, how it would become. Generally, before 2019, we had the questions in reasoning like direct questions. If you know the concept of, let's say that coding and decoding, that's enough. Or blood relation, that's enough. Or let's say that calendar's topic, that's enough. If I give you an example, sir, in 2022 or 23, we had a question like this. If today is Monday, what is the day after 2 power 22 plus first day, right? So when he knows the concept of calendar, it's not enough. He also need to know the concept of reminders in the number system. This is where most of the students getting panic about this CSAT, sir. It's not just about that quant or reasoning. Now the dimensions were changed completely. So in a way that I would say that the toughness levels were increased, but I won't say that it is that hard to crack the exam, sir.
So primarily we agree that the toughness has increased. Right?
Yes,
so
yes,
that
yeah.
is a fair assessment to make.
Yes.
Okay. So also now especially since 2023, I would say, has CSAT now become an elimination paper, or is it just that aspirants are becoming too dramatic about it? What do you feel? As you said that it is becoming tough. So is it as tough that it has become something that makes or breaks your selection?
Basically, as per UPSC, it's still a qualifying paper, sir. If you get some 33% of the marks, that is 66 marks out of 200, you will be qualified in the exam. This is where most of the students get into trap. Just they are looking at that it is a qualifying paper, so we don't need to give focus. The last 1 month or 2 months we can prepare for CSAT. That's enough. That is what the student psychology is, sir. But the thing is, they are not understanding that CSAT was no longer the same CSAT in before 2019, especially before 2013. Even though officially it is qualifying paper, but unofficially on the paper it is, unofficially it is an eliminating paper, sir. That's why most of the students are eliminated from this paper only. I would say that, so maybe on the paper it is like a qualifying paper, but in reality it is an eliminating paper.
So you think that 66 is also a pretty big score to make nowadays?
It's not, sir. It's not that one. But the fact is, most of the students are not giving enough attention to that.
Oh, okay.
That is the major reason why most of the students felt CSAT is like a demon. That is the truth, sir. Sir, I have seen the students who are exceptionally well in GS Paper 1, unable to clear this one. And I have seen that personally, some students came to me and they said that, sir, we got that 120 plus in GS Paper 1. But we did not make clear CSAT. Why? I asked the reason why they did that. Because, sir, we thought that just it is a qualifying paper, we can manage to do it. But later we regret that.
Sir, also everyone has this opinion that quant is easy but time taking.
Yeah.
But reasoning says that I'm simple but I'm confusing. In reality, which one kills more students? What do you feel?
It depends on the student to student, sir. We can't say that which one is easy, which one is tough. Because some student felt that quant is tough, some student felt that reasoning is tough. See, let's take that, suppose if you take a non-math student, somewhere so after 10th standard, they did not do maths. Okay, they were not in touch completely with math. They felt that quant is really tough. And when it comes to the reasoning, some students felt that reasoning, the kind of puzzles or seating arrangement, when they see it, they don't comprehend it in a right manner. That is the reason why some students felt that reasoning is tough. But as far as I know that, most of the students felt quant is tough, especially non-math students. Even some for math students also, they thought that quant is tough. And we can generalize that quant is tougher than reasoning.
So also, sir, since you discussed this, what major trend shifts have you noticed in quant and reasoning over the last 5 years? One thing that you mentioned was now we have overlapping questions with multiple dimensions. Anything else that you would want to focus on?
Yes, sir. Before 2019, as I earlier said, that before, you can see that before 2019 and after 2019 CSAT paper. So as I said that before 2019, we have the direct question just by putting the formula or by substituting the shortcuts, so you can easily manage it. But after 2019, concept-based questions are asking, sir. And also some of the questions are on par with the CAT level of questions, especially the number system, permutations and combinations. That was not easy to crack it unless and until you practice more. So what you require is a lot of practice to do it. If you take just CSAT is a qualifying paper, just if you overconfidently do it, so ultimately you are the losers, sir.
Sir, also aspirants always cry that DI, date interpretation sets, take too much of time. What's the smartest way to handle DI without drowning in calculations? What do you suggest?
So before I answer for that question, sir, my suggestion to whoever attempting the DI, please do it in the last leg of exam.
Okay.
So in the last half an hour, you can do the DI. Because DI, as basically it is calculative based. The design of DI questions are like that, sir. With the DI, the examiner don't want to test your conceptual skills. Basically, the DI questions are based on that simple averages or ratios of proportions, percentages. If you know the basic concept, you can easily do it. But the thing is, it is not about that how well you know the concept. It is all about that how fast you do the calculation. With DI, So when the examiner is giving DA, it means that he wants to test your speed. So how fast you can do a question. So obviously when you are doing the DA, so please do it in the last. And also when you attempt it, approximation will play an important role, sir. See, most of the students, when something fraction value, so basically in DA you need to compare the fraction values or the percentage values. When you do it, you need to go for the approximation values. No need to calculate the whole thing. So some students don't know that. So they just want to see, actually we need to figure out that what examiner wants to get. Okay, so most of the students don't know that. So if you go for the approximation tricks, definitely you can solve the DI questions very easily. And also there are some speed matrix, like let's take that multiplications and additions and subtractions. So that is also important. So if you do this speed matrix, if you learn the speed matrix, which will help you a lot to solve the problems of DI. And another one is for some problems you can also see the eliminations. I mean, by looking at the option, you can easily eliminate, especially when you are comparing the fractions and ratios. So yeah, so and also, sir, earlier we had the DA are based on the sets, like so one like line graph or bar graph. This type of questions are given, and it is followed by 4-5 questions. But now we have a single question. Sir. It generally takes time. So suppose in coming years, if you get a set of DI questions, there are also some easy questions. By looking at the problem, by simple calculations, you can do it. And please do those type of questions first. So in this way, we can clear the DI, sir.
As you said rightfully, so speed is the biggest villain in quant.
Yeah, yes, obviously.
So, I mean, how do you increase speed without turning into Virat Kohli?
Sir, it's a very basic thing, sir. Before I start my CSAT classes, before the first class only, I ask my students to do one thing, that is learn the tables first. It may look funny, sir, very funny. It's like if I say that, everyone laugh at it. Suddenly I ask that what is 16 9? What they will do is 9 into 6, 9 into 1. So let's say it's not just for one problem, sir.
Exactly.
So in exam we have so many questions based on the quant. You have to do the calculation. So every time 6 into 9, 18 into 8, if you get that, every time if you multiply the single digits only, imagine that how much time it tells that. So I would say that if you learn the tables perfectly, it will drastically save your 10 to 15 minutes of time, sir. It makes a lot.
To what extent? How many tables? Till 1 to 20?
Yeah, 1 to 20 are important, sir. Apart from that, we have some tables like 24 table, 25, 36. So these are the most important tables. So like when you are doing that LCMs, and this is very, very useful. And apart from this, we also need to learn the squares, so 1 to 40 squares. It's not just about the quants. Suppose let's say that some 22 square. So we know that 484. If you don't know that, again you need to multiply that 22 into 20. It takes time. So it's not just about quant. Also for the reasoning, we have the number series questions based on that. Generally, it has a very good weightage in CSAT. We have many questions, number series related questions. So when you are doing such type of problem, so you need to identify the squares. For example, 961 is given. You need to know that number is a square number. Okay, so 1331. So you need to know that number is a cube of 11. So that's why it is very, very important to know the squares minimum from 1 to 40 and cubes from 1 to 20. You need to identify the numbers. So first tables and then squares and cubes. And next also there are percentages to fraction changes. As we already discussed in the DI part, it is also important because DI is mostly based on the percentages questions and fractions questions. For example, let's say that when you are calculating a problem, 14.28% of some number 770. Generally what we do, 14.28 divided by 100 into, so some number we do it. It takes a lot of time, sir, when you do the calculation there. But the same thing, if you know that 14.28% is 1 by 7, so within 1 second, less than 1 second only, you will get that answer.
Exactly.
So with these 4 simple things only, you will get, I mean, you can save that 20 to 25 minutes of time, sir. Not just this one, and also we have that basic calculations, sir. Like, so most of the students are weak in multiplication, division. So speed means that I would say that if you are good at plus minus into division, and you don't need to be afraid of calculations, you can easily do it.
Okay, great. So there you have it. Very important to start your preparation with knowing some tables, at least 1 to
and
20.
One more point, sir, here. So every day you spend that some 20 to 25 minutes on this, like speed maths, you need to, for improving your speed, you spend that at least 15 to 20 minutes of time every day. That's very, very important, sir. What every student do is they focus on the big problems and like solving the puzzles. Before that, you please do it every day. Just 15 minutes and 20 minutes. You brush up these things first. Then automatically you can see change in the calculations.
Okay. So the base in maths is this, that we start with our squares and cubes and important percentages also,
Yeah.
and of course the tables. Let's not forget that. So that's a point that we have to take into consideration. Absolutely, sir. Also, sir, I mean, we've observed this from students that seemingly simple topics also, percentages, ratios, averages, suddenly they feel harder in CSAT. I mean, is it the panic or is it the paper design that even these simple questions are being formulated into slightly more difficult questions?
Yeah, one thing is, sir, UPSC asks these simple concepts in a complicated way. That is one reason we have to accept that. The second thing is, most of the students, like, they did all these things in their school days. Almost all the students, be it math student or non-math student, they are not in touch with this, averages or percentages and profit and loss. So that, and also most of the students did not learn enough in their school days. The other part is, some of the students are not get in touch with the mental math generally. So as we discuss about the speed also plays an important role. So most of the students not in touch with the mental math. So when they do the calculation, they take the pen and paper. So you little bit. So because in recent years we can observe that like most of the problems are calculative. How you can overcome it. So for each and everything, if you put it on the paper, if you use the pen, obviously it takes time. That so you need to get in touch with the mental math. And also for some students, like they have a math phobia, sir. Right. So especially non-math students, if they look at the numbers, they're like panic. Okay, so that is also one of the reasons why the simple concept looks like very giant.
I think one thing that we do understand, I think I discussed this with the other faculties as well on other topics, that a large part of the phobia comes from the poorly trained school education
Yes,
thing,
obviously,
that, you know,
sir, yeah.
maybe the school maths, nothing against the school maths teachers.
Yeah.
But yes, if they were not great, they instilled fear in the mind of the aspirant, because 10th maths is not that difficult.
difficult,
But then since you said this, that non-maths background people have that panic, is it true that people from non-maths background are at a big disadvantage in CSAT, or is it just an excuse? What do you feel?
Yeah, so basically the same thing I asked the students, that what do you mean by math student and non-math student? Basically, literally I don't understand, sir, because we all have studied maths. Here are somewhere, definitely. So only if you pass 10th class with math, then only we can do that intermediate and so other things like degree and everything. So obviously, and one more point, as you mentioned that like math students have an advantage. Obviously, no, sir. Because like whatever the questions which are framed in CSAT is purely based on school math. It's not that like, so the questions from the degree or the questions from the intermediate are asking. So the questions are purely school math. And second thing, the greatest advantage here is the questions are also simple concept, commercial maths like percentages, profit and loss, simple interest, and so this kind of questions only. There is no algebra, big algebra, or there is no trigonometry, there is no geometry. And even I ask the students, can you call this as a maths? I mean, whatever the questions are asking, because like profit and loss, let's say that these are the maths we use it in daily life, sir. So when you go to a shop, like, so the shopkeeper offers a discount. Just because a non-math student, can't you ask the discount? We can, right? So these are the simple maths. I won't say that math student have an advantage over the non-math. Definitely they have little bit advantage. That does not mean that completely it is biased to the math students.
So no Holland Knight and no Irodovs are required.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
fair.
obviously.
So also, I mean, we have seen this. Engineers fail CSAT to rate. I mean, how does that happen? I mean, overconfidence, wrong strategy, laziness. What do you attribute that to?
One of the major reason, that's like overconfidence. I mean, So when I interact with engineers, so because in recent years, so many engineering graduates also failed in CSAT. When they came and so told me their stories about that they failed in CSAT, the first thing they were saying that, sir, we underestimate CSAT. The overconfidence is the first part, because see what they think is like CSAT is just like a qualifying paper, and also we have that school math, so we can easily do it. So 1 month preparation is just enough. So that with that overconfidence, most of the students failed in that. The second reason is, sir, engineering math is different from CSAT math. Maybe even though they know the math, they're in touch with math, but the concept which you're asking here is percentages, profit and loss, simple interest, compound interest. They might know the concepts, but they need to know how they need to project it, how they need to do it in the exam. So they are lacking in it. And another major thing, sir, of course, I'm also an engineering graduate. We get used to the calculator, sir. We overly depend on the calculator. You may laugh at it, but see, even for 4 into 5, use the calculator, sir. That is one of the reasons, major reasons why engineering students fail in this. Because CSAT requires a lot of mental math and lot of calculation, speed calculation. That too, it should be done by manually. So we should not use any calculator. So calculation also plays an important role.
Definitely.
So engineering graduates not in touch with that. So for everything they, majorly depend on this calculator. That is also one of the reasons why why they failed in CSAT, sir.
So a mix of overconfidence and
Yeah,
laziness primarily, and over dependence on technology nowadays.
Yes.
Sir, also one slightly conceptual thing. I mean, aspirants often say that I get the concept, but I still get the answer wrong. Now, why does conceptual clarity not always translate into accuracy? What do you feel?
So concept for anything, concepts is definitely required. So when you do a quant question or reasoning question, so you need to know what is the concept behind that. But concept itself is not enough to solve the question perfectly. You need to know the accuracy also, because as I already mentioned that the questions are interrelated with the one concept to another concept. Not just single concept, you need to know all the concepts. Accuracy comes with speed. I mean, like if you know that, see, they do everything. The concepts they know, everything they can do. And also they need to know that in a right way of approach. So they need to know the right approach to solve the problem. Accuracy comes if you use the concept with the right strategy at the same time with speed. I mean, you need to solve the question within the specified time. For that, you require the speed mathematics. With that, they can improve that accuracy. So.
Okay. Sir, also, what is the ideal balance between quant and reasoning in CSAT? 50-50, 60-40, what is that? 70-30?
Yeah, basically, if you look at the recent, more weightage is given to the quant. Okay. So as I told you that earlier, we had the more reasoning questions. If you look at from 2019, drastically the number of reasoning questions were decreased. On an average, I would say, sir. So we get like something 15 to 20 questions for reasoning, 35 to 40 questions for quant. Okay. And also the toughness of quant is much more, larger than the reasoning. So I would suggest that in your preparation time of quant and reasoning, give 60 to 70% to quant and so 30 to 40% for reasoning. So this is the ideal time balance for quant and reasoning.
It's around 2/3, 1/3
yes.
system. Okay, sir. Also, should students attempt all easy questions first, or should they stick to sections like say DI or reasoning or whatever, depending on their strength? What do you suggest?
Sir, when they do that question paper, sir, so I would suggest them to divide it into 3 segments, like first half an hour, next 1 hour, last half an hour. It's not that there is no sectional cutoff for this. So obviously they can choose the easy questions, because the paper design is like that. It doesn't matter how tough the final paper would be, still there are some easy questions. In the first half an hour, your target should look at the questions and just glance at the questions, skim the questions, where you can see the questions like immediately you can answer it just by putting the formula or just by applying the shortcut. There are certainly some problems there. Around that some 15 to 20 questions are there. In first half an hour, just glance at the paper, go through it. Whatever the easy questions are there, just like with little calculation, you will get some questions, answers for that. So you choose that type of question. And next you can go for the moderate type of question in the next 1 hour. And as I said already that in the last half an hour, so you can go for the DIs and puzzles kind of thing. So kind of questions where it requires that calculations.
Okay. So also for logical reasoning questions, especially the statement assumption questions and the statement conclusion questions, they confuse even the best of these aspirants.
Yes.
So how do we tame these kind of questions?
Basically, it comes under the critical reasoning part, sir. So critical reasoning, it comes with the practice and practice only. That is the only way they can do it. So basically what happens in critical reasoning is the options are too closer. And one way is, first you can eliminate, out of the 4 options, you can eliminate 2 options very easily. The debate is between the 2 remaining options. So it comes with the practice only, sir.
And so for puzzle type questions, seating arrangements and direction sense,
Yeah.
are they even worth attempting or are they time traps?
Directions, coding and decoding, seating, so regulations, I think, so if you look at the trend of CSAT, you can manage bull, sir. You can manage it. But so when it comes to the puzzles, it will take time, sir. Especially when the longer puzzles are given. So definitely it takes time. So please make sure that you attempt that kind of puzzles in the last half an hour. You can attempt it, sir.
So they are largely time traps only, not worth the time. Huh? Okay. And one very basic question, that how many mocks does a serious aspirant need before prelims? Is it 5, 10, 20, or just keep practicing till you start crying and dying? What is the number, sir?
So quality is always important than quantity, sir. Quality is always important than quantity, sir. So it doesn't matter that how many marks you write. It all about that after writing marks, you need to analyze it. What is the purpose of writing number of marks without analyzing the paper? So what most of the students do is just simply write the marks and marks and marks without analyzing the paper. I don't think it will work out, sir, just by writing the marks. So my idea of writing mark test is, so you need to analyze after every question, after every mark, you need to analyze that marks. As you asked me that how many marks are required, it depends on student to student, sir. Generally, if you are good at CSAT, if you feel that, so CSAT is cakewalk or is okay for me, then you can go around 15 marks, sir. That's enough. And if you are moderate, you can go for 20 to 25. If you are not feeling comfortable with CSAT, then obviously minimum to minimum, you write that 30 marks, sir. Okay. And after that, you need to analyze. See, let's say that you write mark test for 2 hours. The next 1 hour, you spend time for analyzing that marks and make an error logbook and note down everything, right, where you went wrong, and make sure that don't repeat the same mistake in next mark test. If you do for every mark, then obviously over a period of time, you can just get through the marks. You can get through the CSAT very clearly, sir.
Okay, fair. So primarily we need to have that number of at least 30-35 is
it depends on the
safe bet for
so
any kind of aspirant. Sir, also, what is the biggest mistake aspirants make in CSAT that leads to unexpected failures? What do you think? Couple of...
Sir, the major reason is just because it is a qualifying paper, they don't give importance to this, sir. So most of the students, almost 90% of the students are not giving enough attention to this paper, sir. See, in the last leg of the preparation, they start the preparation for CSAT. Before last 3 months or before last 2 months, they start their preparation. And they're not understanding that CSAT was not as same as earlier. It was drastically changed. And you are getting bounces. You need to adapt to that one. Okay, so I think that the major reason is due to they're not giving enough time to CSAT. They're not taking seriously what they take for GS paper 1. If they give enough time for CSAT, then obviously everyone can clear it. So it's not a big deal.
Of course, I mean, the mindset is that, since this is
Yeah.
just for this exam, I am putting in too much of effort. I think that goes, and
Why?
then
Yeah.
you take less effort, and ultimately that becomes your deciding factor.
Just because it is a qualifying paper, so I don't need to give so much of time to this.
Sir, also, is there any fixed set of topics that UPSC repeats often, like say ratios or numbers or averages, DI arrangement, that we can prioritize? What would your list be?
Yes, basically UPSC is unpredictable, sir. We can't come to a conclusion, but yes, if you look at the recent trend, there are some important topics, sir. For example, if you take the number system, in recent years, so much of weightage is given to the number system topics, sir. Especially as I said that from 2019. So the weightage is given drastically. Some 20 to 25% of quant questions are coming from the number system.
Yes.
Especially in 2022 and 23, almost all 25 to 30 questions were asked from the same number system and permutations and combination. So that's why when students are preparing for CSAT, I ask them to please prepare number system and permutations and combination. These two topics are very, very important. And also you prepare on par with the CAT level. These two topics especially. It has a significant weightage in CSAT, sir. And next we have the normal topics like ratios and proportions and percentages, profit and loss. These topics are there, but more weightage is given to this, sir.
So if you can focus primarily on number system, that's your go-to
Yeah,
thing.
so definitely they should not leave this topic. Number systems and permutations and combinations, and of course probability. These three topics they should not leave at all at any cost.
Okay. So also a lot of aspirants say that they blank out in the exam. How does one deal with CSAT exam day anxiety?
Basically, what I have observed from this is, sir, they first tried the GS paper 1. The slot is from morning 9:30 to 11:30. Now we have, after that, we have CSAT session from 2:30 to 4:30. Obviously, for many students, they carry the emotion of GS paper 1 to GS paper 2. So my suggestion would be is, it doesn't matter how you write the first paper. You please write the GS paper 2 or CSAT with open mind. Okay, so feel free. Even if you did well in first paper, or if you did not do well in first paper, you try to attempt with maximum positive attitude. And next, you have a time break between GS paper 1 and CSAT. So you please relax that. Don't think too much about the GS paper 1. Okay, so don't just try to check the key also paper 1.
So no checking the keys and all.
Yeah. So with open mind, you go to CSAT paper. And also, I would suggest that please, before 1 month or 2 months, try to wake up in the afternoon. Like, so some of the students told me, sir, in the afternoon session, sir, after having lunch, we had a sleepy attitude, sir. Yeah, so please, so food is also important. Take a little food, don't take too much. Right, that is my advice, sir.
No heavy chole bhatures
yes.
that day. Okay, fair. Sir, also, how does, since you mentioned about, we should keep a track of our mistakes and stuff. So how does an aspirant review their mistakes in quant and reasoning? I mean, what does a proper analysis session look like for you?
Sir, after writing every marks, they need to maintain a error logbook, sir.
Okay.
First, let's say that first they write a mark test 1.
Okay.
And they just note down that way they are doing wrong.
Okay.
After that, they need to analyze that. Is it because of their lack of conceptual clarity, or is because of speed? They're not doing, they know the concept, but they're not doing because their speed is not that enough, or is it because of overconfidence? Right? So that's why they need to analyze after every marks, so they know that way. If they maintain an error log books, so each and everything, so in which problem I'm doing the mistake, each and everything when they are writing down, so for the next marks, don't repeat the same mistake again. So in this way, if they write the 30 marks, after the 30th marks, everything look very easy, sir. In my opinion, just note down where you went wrong and analysis, and next you go for the next marks test by not doing the same mistake again. That's how they can overcome it, sir.
So primarily, when you solve a mock test and you have made, say, 10 mistakes, the first thing is to find out what was the mistake.
Yes.
Was it a conceptual error?
Yes.
Or was it some calculation error? Or was it just an overconfidence-based error? So maybe if it's a conceptual error, we can just go back to revising.
Revise the brush up your basics and you can do it. or if it is because of your because most of the students know the concepts better, but they can't able to do it because of their speed. So they can overcome that one by analyzing it.
Sir, also, one thing you've rightly pointed out is the speed, because and mugging up some tables and all that is required actually. But to what extent is it necessary to memorize formulas now? It's like different. And or can we survive CSAT with just logic and basic common sense, or do you think
No,
formulas?
sir. Both are required actually.
Okay.
So just it is a combination of both. Formulas, I won't say that completely you rule out the formulas. There are some questions where you need to apply the formulas. With formulas, you can save time actually. Without formula also you can do the problem, but if you know the problem, if you know the formula, it saves your time. Of course, in CSAT, not many questions are formula based, but at least for few problems, it will help you a lot. And formulas itself is not enough. You need to know that conceptual clarity. So you need to get through the all concept, basic concept. So with the formula plus shortcuts plus conceptual clarity plus speed, you will clear the CSAT.
What kind of formula would you feel that this is important? You can't skip this formula.
Yes, there are.
Anything?
So in every topic we have that, especially in the number system. So number system we have so many formulas, and also there were not much questions from the mensuration, but still we are getting that 1 or 2 questions from the mensuration. Mensuration means that obviously we have a lot of formulas, and also in percentages, profit and loss, there are little formulas. I mean, just like some kind of short tricks. If you memorize it, it will be, so as I mentioned that in the first half an hour, you can go for the questions which you can easily do it, no? So that type of question you can easily solve if you memorize the formulas.
Okay. So also, since we are discussing on what type of questions to solve first, now what kind of question should be avoided? Should the student leave immediately to avoid losing time, losing confidence and whatnot?
Yeah, so just by looking at some questions where you can feel that calculation is very lengthy. See, when you see the question, you can understand that it requires a lot of calculation.
Is there some topic that you would
so
prefer?
DI, especially as I mentioned, the DI questions. DI basically requires the time, sir.
Okay.
Not all DI questions, but at least most of the DI questions requires the time. And also, if you are not familiar with any certain concept, don't go for it. Maybe, so so you are like 50-50. You know the concept, but somewhat you are not figuring out, then don't do it in the first attempt. You can go for the last.
Maybe a topic like probability, would you say skip it?
It depends on the students, but some students felt that I have seen that some students are exceptionally good in probability and permutations and combination. They can go for it.
But they are primarily from maths background only.
Yes, math background only. Non-math background means that
I think this will be the most difficult thing for them.
Yeah,
largely.
so permutation. And sir, I would say one more thing, sir. Permutations and combination is not about that maths. Again, it is purely logical based questions. And it's actually very interesting topic.
That's true.
PNC. So if they love to do it, so definitely they can crack it. So that's why when I teach in the classroom, so initially they are somewhat hesitant to learn the topic. But after completion of the topic, so some students are able to do it, even non-math students, sir.
So you say that DI is because it's extremely
DI
calculation
and
heavy.
Kind of
so
puzzles in LR also. So there are hard puzzles. So you can avoid it.
just skip them. There's no need to waste time.
So don't waste your time.
So, sir, also one more thing. Since we talked about calculations, so how much role does approximation play in solving quant? I mean, does it help you solve questions?
Definitely, sir. Definitely approximate. As I mentioned, especially in huge calculation, especially in the DI part, sir, it helps a lot. So they need to know the approximation tricks so that they can easily do that DI questions, and also some questions from the quant. Definitely, it will help.
Okay. So one more thing, I mean, for UPSC, what is the mindset of UPSC when they test through CSAT, quant and reasoning? Are they testing intelligence, or are they testing calmness, or are they testing logic or patience? What exactly are they testing? What do you feel?
Combination of all, sir. So basically, through CSAT, what they want to test is their logical skills, sir.
Okay.
And their aptitude skills, their decision making skills, sir, and also comprehension skills, but all this within the specified time. So normally any student can do it if time limit is not given, and UPSC want to test all this within the time period. The time period is the most important thing, sir.
So combination of these, but again, they want you
within
to
that
respond
specified
quickly.
time. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
And also you need to know that what type of questions you have to choose and what type of questions you need to leave. That also depends, sir.
Oh, sir, non-maths aspirants, of course, we have discussed how they fear numbers and all. How can they reduce that fear? I mean, how can they actually become comfortably competent
First of
apart
all,
from practice?
yeah, first of all, they have to brush up their basics, sir. See, they need to understand one thing. They're not doing pure maths. I mean, they're not doing maths at all. It's like a basic math which we use it in our daily life. First, they need to get rid of this math phobia. Non-math students. So math is tough. Just they need to get rid of that math phobia.
I think, sorry to interrupt, half the battle is that maths phobia in their
Yes,
mind.
sir. So for
That also
most of the
prevents them from
students,
learning
yeah.
things.
So when they look at the numbers, they felt like it is like a demon. So maths, most of the students had a phobia of this. Just get out of it. So we are not writing that IIT JEE exams. We are not writing CAT exam. And also again, it is qualifying paper only. So you don't need to score 200 out of 200. Okay, that's why. So UPS also here made it very clear that we are not completely biased to the math students. That's why we are putting as a qualifying paper. So solving 60, I mean getting 66 out of 200 is easier for anybody. They are not asking you to score 150 out of 200, just 66 out of 200 with the quant, reasoning and reading comprehension. It is easily manageable, sir.
Sir, also, is it, since I think you've discussed this also, that preparing for CSAT throughout the year versus only 2-3 months before prelims, what would you suggest for what kind of aspirant?
For math, I won't say that math students are. I mean, for math students also, they had problem with some quant. Right? If you are not feeling well with CSAT, at least 9 months preparation is required, sir. 9-month preparation. If you are exceptionally good, like if you are from IIT background or NIT background, you are okay with quant and reasoning, so you can go for last 2-3 months preparation, sir. But whatever it may be, so make sure that your concepts will be very clear. Whether you start your preparation 9 months ago or last 2-3 months, make sure that your concepts will be very good and your speed should be corrected. And next, write as many marks as you can. Just by thinking that I'm very good at CSAT or I'm very good at this concept won't give you anything, sir. Only by writing the mark test, if you analyze, then you will understand that where you stand.
So 9 months is required, slowly and steadily
So
spread
for
across the full 9
ideal
months.
time is obviously 9 months, 6 months to 9 months, sir. I would say that for
How many hours roughly would you say in a week?
again, it depends on the student, sir. If you, so there are some students, I mean, they are very weak in maths. They told me like, sir, we can't able to solve it. So then I suggest them that 3 hours for CSAT, sir. For
Okay,
9
so
months.
for example, let's say an aspirant who scored 35-14 marks in a mock test. Now, what should their next 60-day plan look like? What do you feel?
The thing is, sir, as I said that, so they need to write minimum 2 marks once in a week.
Okay, 2 marks per week.
Per
Okay.
week. So after that, as I said that they need to analyze that mark test, where they are doing the mistakes. Are they doing the problems? Is there any problem with the concepts or is there any problem with the speed? So they need to figure it out. So again, as I said that if they maintain error log book for after every marks, then they can easily score it, sir. And one more important thing, sir, for any aspirant, solving previous year questions starting from 2011 to 2025 will help them a lot, sir, because UPSC has a tendency of repeating, at least in CSAT. So UPSC has repeated some questions, sir. At least some 20 to 25% of questions definitely is there in the exam paper, sir. So my suggestion would be, apart from writing the mark test, you solve each and every previous year question starting from 2011 to 2025.
So basics are solving the PYQs first.
Yes.
2 mocks per week is what you suggest for any aspirant who is finding it difficult.
Fine, sir.
Okay. Also, sir, can you just list out 4 or 5 more scoring areas that I cannot skip? I have to focus on when I'm preparing.
Sir, from quant, definitely, as I mentioned, that number system, sir.
Okay.
Permutations and combinations, ratios, percentages, sir. Definitely they should not skip.
Must
Right.
do for these.
They
four.
must need to do it. And similarly, when it comes to the reasoning part, we have the number series based questions. Sir.
Okay.
We have the top 3 to 4 questions. And calendars is very, very important. And next topics, clocks, directions, blood relation. And there is another concept called syllogism, sir.
Syllogism.
So these topics, they must not leave at any cost, sir.
Okay. So if you have to begin, then I think, as Sir said, number system is of key importance to us.
Yes,
followed
very,
with
very
PNC,
important, sir.
and of course ratios. And let's not forget, when you come to the reasoning part, again the same number series reasoning, directions, and Sir said syllogism as well.
Syllogism, very
Maybe
important. Blood
that's
relation.
a typical part of our papers, and blood relations, of course. Also, sir, I mean, let's say UPSC, because you have been insisting on how the 2019, post-2019 shift has been for UPSC. So what if UPSC decides to make CSAT even tougher? I mean, how should students future-proof their quant and reasoning preparation?
First thing is they need to get the concept, thoroughly, sir. And my sincere advice to the students, don't leave any topic. Even though I mentioned for the last question that these are the important topics, my intention is not that you leave any topic.
Of course,
Already in the beginning, I gave you an example, sir. Reasoning question is interrelated with the number system.
True.
So in a way that UPSC, even it doesn't matter how hard the question paper would be, the basic topics are, these are the topics. So from these topics only the questions will come. Only thing is, you need to prepare all the concepts, and so you need to improve the speed. With that, I don't have any, I'm not thinking that the paper would be difficult, sir. Even if the paper would be difficult, they can easily do it. Conceptual clarity is very, very important, sir. And they should not leave any topic, any concept, so that even the question paper would be tough, they can easily do it.
That is great, sir. And finally, sir, one statement from you on motivational aspect for aspirants who have, let's say, failed CSAT once, and now when he or she opens the paper with shaking hands, what do you tell them?
Sir, already they had an experience. So they know that 99% of the students who came to me and told that, so we failed the CSAT, and the immediate reason why you failed the student, why you failed CSAT. Immediately they told, so we did not give importance to it, sir. As an experienced candidate, you already know that where you went a mistake, where you did the mistake. Please don't do the repeat. Please don't do the same mistake again. So if you don't do that, if you give equal importance to paper 2, CSAT, just like the GS paper 1, definitely so you can clear. So go with a right strategy and with positive attitude, definitely you will clear it.
And for the first timers, of course, they can learn from others' mistakes, right?
Yes, obviously. So don't neglect CSAT. So it's not just a qualifying paper, even though it is officially qualifying paper, but it is unofficially eliminating paper. So it decides your future, right? If you want to get through UPSC, definitely you need to break this barrier. Please don't neglect CSAT. Yes, sir.
That is great, sir. And please don't neglect CSAT, as Sir said. And CSAT also reminds us of one thing, that clarity beats chaos every single time. So that's all for me. I'm Anub Saransh, and this is the GS Room, where the curious meets the serious. Jai Hind.